Christian Leroy Duncan is a veteran of Cage Warriors. He captured their middleweight championship in the spring of 2022. He had significant amateur experience prior to turning it pro, competing from 2015 to 2019, fighting 23 fights before turning pro, going on a run of undefeated wins before making it to the UFC. Today we'll take a look at CLD's career highlights.
Oh, Till's out! It's over!
It's over! It's over! That's what I'm saying, boy!
Oh!
He got dropped!
It's over! Munoz! Oh my God!
Let's begin by highlighting some of Duncan's amateur results. Spending a majority of his 23-bout amateur career split between Cage Warriors Academy and IMMAF tournaments, which is an international amateur tournament where you fight through a bracket to try and win gold, bronze, or silver. Representing England, his accolades include a 2017 World Championship middleweight bronze and a 2019 European Championship silver. The 27-year-old competed in IMMAF on 13 occasions over 4 different competitions. With a wealth of experience uncommon among mixed martial arts amateurs, Duncan decided to turn professional in 2020. Joining the familiar Cage Warriors promotion, his debut couldn't have gone better. He pinned 3-1 Kyle McClurkin up against the fence, delivering a brutal elbow and finishing the fight with a flurry of follow-up strikes. Duncan continued his impressive streak in Cage Warriors by knocking out Polish fighter Lukasz Marcinkowski with a slick spinning heel kick. He then engaged in a duology of fights with Will Curry, despite being underestimated by odds makers in their first fight who favored Curry's wrestling. Duncan delivered a stunning flying knee knockout in the second round of their first bout, defying expectation. In the rematch, Duncan decisively ended the rivalry with a unanimous decision victory. This result was even more impressive, with Leroy Duncan actually having big advantages in the grappling situations that after the first fight and pre-fight, you'd expect Curry to be more dominant. But nonetheless, Duncan's offensive style, layered with his exciting spinning techniques and angled attacks, quickly established him as one to watch in the Cage Warriors middleweight division, and in under 6 fights, he'd main event Cage Warriors 136 for their middleweight title live from Manchester. Known for his wrestling prowess, he would take on DAWG Milan. The defending Cage Warriors champion secured a takedown within the first minute of the bout, keeping Duncan down for most of the first round. However, the energy Milan expended became evident in round 2 as Duncan, fresher and more agile, applied relentless pressure with stance switches and feints, leveling the score with a series of impressive strikes. By round 3, Duncan's superior conditioning and striking skills dominated the cage, culminating in a devastating flying knee that dropped Milan and forced referee Mark Goddard to stop the fight immediately. A beautiful walk-off knockout to crown Christian Leroy Duncan the middleweight champion. Just one title defense later and one fall through for his second defense, and the Cage Warriors middleweight champion would be brought into the UFC by passing the Contender Series to take on another prospect in Dusko Todorovic. He'd fight on the UFC pay-per-view main evented by fellow countryman Leon Edwards, and he'd be fighting as the hometown guy, with the pay-per-view being held in his home country of England. This fight would end with some unfortunate circumstances, with Todorovic suffering a knee injury, but Christian Leroy Duncan successfully winning in his UFC debut. He'd be matched up against Armen Petrosian for his next fight. This would be an extremely close contest between 2 rising prospect middleweights, but this time Christian Leroy Duncan would suffer the first defeat in his career, and it would kind of light a fire under him because in his next performances he would look for the finish. He would take on Russian Denis Talulin in his next fight, finishing him in the second round with punches and elbows, and then he would take on Claudio Ribeiro and finish him with ground and pound again in the second round. And this win against Ribeiro was probably his most impressive. Leroy Duncan came out as a completely different fighter in the second round, showing off some of his takedowns, and once he got the takedown, went into mount and landed some massive ground and pound that we haven't seen from Leroy Duncan in the past. And if he's able to develop this part of his game on top of what we already know from his striking, he is going to be one of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC's middleweight division. Christian Leroy Duncan, ever since that loss in 2023, has been showing out inside the Ultimate Fighting Championship cage. Let me know how far you think Christian Leroy Duncan, the super striker, can go in the UFC. Can he become a middleweight champion in the ultimate organization in the world? Top 10 contender? You let me know. If you enjoyed this video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe to Combat Sports Central, and I will see you in the next one.